couldn't wait to get your hands on Anna.
Oh, it was just that Anna, Samantha, Mother was...
No. It wasn't them. It was you. You were the ringleader. But when my uncle gets here and there's no wedding, who do you think he's gonna blame?
Me?
No, me. Thanks to you.
Don't you think he'll understand?
Understand? My uncle understand?
Do you think he'll be peeved?
Peeved? My uncle don't get peeved. My uncle gets mad. My uncle explodes. My uncle's Mount Vesuvius. It's the last days of Pompeii.
Hi, welcome back to the Who's the Boss podcast. That's so aggressive.
I know. I picked it. I was like, we need to use that.
I'm Tori.
I'm Kevin. It's from this episode, actually. Obviously.
Yeah. And we are here to rewatch and discuss every single episode of Who's the Boss. Mm-hmm. We don't have any news or anything exciting to talk about beforehand.
No, except for the excitement of this podcast.
Right, except for that. So I'm just going to get right to it. So today we are doing Season 2, Episode 12. The title of this episode is Tony the Nanny. It first aired on December 17th, 1985, and the TV Guide summary says, Tony's cousin is sent to the States for an arranged marriage with a man she has never met. So the writer of this episode was Ellen Gillis. She's written a few before. But, interesting fact, this is the one and only episode that Katherine Hellman will direct. So she directed this with Gail Liberty Kennedy.
Maybe the director called in sick that day.
Right. Katherine, you're up.
Yeah.
You've been waiting to do this. But I guess that makes sense because she's not in a ton of this episode, right?
Right.
Yeah, because I guess it's... Although she was in a lot of... I wonder what the shooting schedule was for this episode. Because she was in a lot of the episode before this one. So you would think that she would have needed to have an episode. Normally they're prepping for the next episode. Like the director and stuff is prepping for the next episode when they're shooting the last. So I wonder if they shot these out of order. I should have looked that up before we say it.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, so when this episode opens, Tony is on the phone with family in Italy. And he just keeps saying, si, bene, over and over again. So it's quite obvious that Tony does not know that much Italian. And we hear the name Anna in there. I think we hear Uncle Aldo. The kids are standing right next to him trying to listen in to hear. This is very exciting. Jonathan asks Sam, do you speak Italian? And she says, yeah, but I'm not allowed to say any of the words that I know.
Now, in Tony's defense, he's saying good. I looked up bene.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. He's saying...
He's saying good.
No, wait. Didn't we figure this out?
No, it says good.
I know, but you were spelling it wrong. It's B-E-N-E.
That's exactly what I have.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then he's
No, I know. At first I had the wrong spelling of it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's just saying...
says, like
yes,
right here, it
yes,
says, okay, bene,
yes,
okay,
yes,
good.
okay. Yeah.
Which is what it means. And then C, he's saying yes, right?
Yeah.
C is yes.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Same as in Italian and Spanish.
C.
I noticed too that Samantha's wearing the same sweater as the prodigal father-in-law.
Good eye.
Yeah, which I noticed that sweater in the prodigal father-in-law, and I forgot to bring it up because it has like a teddy bear on the front, and I was thinking that it looked a little young for the Samantha we've seen this season, but it's still cute. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe it was kind of cool to like wear a teddy bear sweater in an ironic way when you're 13. I don't remember, but...
Probably not.
I know. Or Alyssa Milano was like, this sweater looks like a baby, and they were like, just put it on and stop talking. So Angela comes in, and Jonathan's like, shh, Tony's on the phone with Italy.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah, and Angela's like, oh, great, tell them I love their shoes. So he gets off the phone, and he says that was his Uncle Aldo, letting him know that his cousin is coming to America. And then he says, either that or I just bought a Ferrari.
Never mind the fact that it's a call to Italy back then, long distance.
Well, I think Aldo called him.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on Aldo's dime.
Right. Yeah. Although I wonder, I'm sure he would have made calls to Italy at some point. So
maybe.
He just would let her know.
Relatives there.
Yeah. So Samantha asks, which cousin? And he's like, okay, that I know. It's Anna. And she's coming here for a wedding. Either that or she's died and they're sending her body.
So maybe he doesn't know Italian very well.
Yeah. And Angela says, you're just a font of information. And then Jonathan says, well, when is she coming? And he says, that I know, the Festival of Saints.
Right.
And Jonathan asks, when is the Festival of Saints? And he says, what do I look like? A font of information.
Yeah, right. He's so proud of himself.
I know. Now, the closed captioning had that spelled F-O-N-T, but I believe the word's actually F-O-U-N-T.
Yeah, I think you're right, because we couldn't find anything.
No. But yes, there's I don't know if it's still pronounced the same way, but a fount of knowledge is something, but font of information, I don't know.
The Festival of Saints is November 1st and 2nd, just in case anybody's wondering.
Oh, well then...
Right? Or did you look it up?
I did not look it up.
Okay.
But this episode aired December 17th, so...
Oh, well, a little late.
Yeah, they missed the Festival
According
of
to the
Saints.
interwebs, it's they celebrate All Saints Day or All Souls Day.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, yes. So that would be November 1st or 2nd.
I'm not going to go into detail or what it's actually called because I can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
Then we'd be here for a while.
Right, don't bother. Okay. But Tony is very proud of himself for using a word that Angela did. And Angela looks like she also thinks it's pretty cute. She gives him a little smile. I thought that was cute.
That's very nice.
Yeah. So now the next day, Tony's in the kitchen and he's making a sandwich. And he's very proud of his sandwich. He's like, whoa.
What a sandwich.
What a sandwich. And it must be for Samantha because she comes in the kitchen and she quickly says bye and then starts running out the front door. And that's when we get the... Right. Now Samantha's wearing the sweater that she was wearing in The Graduate, which I noticed. So it's cute that they are recycling Samantha's clothes. I would like to see some of her fun little outfits we saw, though, like at the sleepover and stuff again, which we haven't seen since. But I guess it's colder now, maybe, so that's why.
It's December.
Yeah. So he's like, young lady, where are you going? And Angela's also standing at the mirror, and she turns around and says, oh, I was going to... Oh, you're not talking to me.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. And Samantha says, everyone is going to the mall. I'm going to the mall. And Tony's like, oh, really, everyone? I'm not going to the mall.
I know.
Angela, are you going to the mall?
And it turns out she is. It's great that she... Actually, it just ruins his whole argument.
Yeah.
Like, I actually am going to mall, meeting Wendy.
Yeah, and I like call back to Wendy.
Right.
We're not seeing Wendy, but yes, she's going to the mall with Wendy. Herb's probably going to stay home with their 2 kids and just be sad because he's bald and she doesn't love him.
Right.
So Angela says, ask Samantha if she would like a ride to the mall. And she's like, yeah, great. So Tony says, well, you're not going to go eat cookies. And she's like, I'm not going to eat cookies. I'll have a corn dog. And he's like, no, you're going to go in the kitchen and you're going to go eat the chicken sandwich that I made you.
He's so proud of.
Yes, it was a delicious chicken sandwich. So Sam goes into the kitchen. At the same time, Mona and Jonathan come in the back door of the living room. And they say, we're going to the mall because they're going to see a movie. And I think Angela asked, what are you going to go see? And Jonathan would like to go see the new sci-fi movie. And Mona says, Lust in Space?
Right, not at all what he's talking about.
Right. No, too much sex. And then she proceeds to ask, I wonder how you do that when you're weightless.
Right, immediately goes in that direction.
I wonder if they have actually ever tested that.
I don't know. I can look it up.
Yeah, maybe if we have to cut later, you can look it up real quick. But yeah, that is an interesting question, Mona. I'm also kind of curious. But why she's bringing that up right now in front of her 3rd grade grandson, not sure. So Angela's like, Mother, And then Mona's like, what? You're either going to get too much sex or you're going to get too much violence. So they decide to go see Bambi.
Which is violence.
That is, and Jonathan's excited. He's like, oh, I love when the mom gets blasted.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So Sam comes back out of the kitchen. She now has a mouthful of chicken sandwich. And Tony's like, you were supposed to eat it, not store it away for winter.
I know. She ate so fast so she can get a ride to the mall.
And she did. She's like, okay, Angela, I'm ready to go. And at the same time, as they're getting ready to leave, the doorbell rings. And when Samantha opens it, there is a young woman standing there. And it's Anna. So she's very modestly dressed. She looks super wholesome. And she's just arrived from Italy. So this actress, so I looked her up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were saying something earlier.
Yeah, so her name is Anna Obregon. I believe I'm saying it right. I tried to listen to a YouTube video where somebody was saying her name, but they had a very thick accent, and they spoke quite fastly, or quickly. So I'm not positive. But this woman is a huge celebrity Spanish actress. She's
really?
Not Italian. Yeah, she is Spanish. She is like a socialite, a presenter. She's been on all sorts of Spanish television shows, and she's written Spanish television shows. So at first I was like, I didn't really know what else she had done on IMDb until I started really digging into some of the shows that were Spanish shows and not American shows. And she also has a master's degree in biology.
Oh, wow.
I know. She's 65 now. But there's also a little bit of controversy around her because...
Oh, boy.
She was one of Jeffrey Epstein's clients at his consulting firm.
Oh, interesting.
So it doesn't have any kind of... There's nothing in here about, like, sex trafficking or anything like that. But more just that he helped her recover. Apparently her father lost millions in investments, and he helped her recover them.
Really?
Yes. And then there were, like, fraud allegations and all sorts of stuff. So
interesting.
Then at some point, she tried to put a hit out on someone.
Okay. Well, this just keeps going.
I know. She tried to hire someone to physically assault journalist Jamie Cantanzano because he had said something unacceptable in the media about her son. And so there was like a well-known criminal group from Spain that apparently was hired to try to beat this guy up. These are all allegations. I don't know if anything was ever settled in court, but yes, that was kind of an interesting controversy. So yes, this woman is still an actress, still a writer.
That's quite the history.
Yeah, and there's like, if you go to YouTube and type her name in, like paparazzi's following her around all the time. So she's a huge celebrity in Spain. Okay, so, but here, she must be about 25 here, I'd say. No, I would say she'd maybe like 28 or 29. Because she's younger than both Judith and Tony now. So, and she, yes, very modestly dressed.
Yeah, you're right. The math is right on that.
Yeah, it's the best I can do on the spot.
No. That's good. That's good.
A C student at best in math. Tony's very excited to see her. And Angela. And she's like, hello, welcome to America. Your
yelling.
English is very good. Yes, all like awkward and yelling. And so Tony introduces her as his boss, Miss Liberty. And Angela asks, oh, well, who's getting married? Like, whose wedding are you here for? And she's like, oh, me. And she asked, didn't my father explain on the phone? And Tony's like, yeah, my Italian's a little rusty. And then Samantha just throws him under the bus by saying, it stinks.
Exactly.
So Anna pulls out a letter from Uncle Aldo, her father, that explains. And she hands it to Tony, but again, it's all in Italian. So he asks Anna if she could help him. And he opens the letter and he's like, okay, well, what's this? And she says, Dear Tony. So they all sit down to listen to the letter. Aldo says that he sent his youngest daughter to America to get married, and he wants Tony to take good care of her, and he would like to thank him for inviting her to stay in his home. Yeah, Tony did not realize that he offered for Anna to stay in Angela's home.
You're right. There's a lot of details he missed there.
Yes. So then he asked Angela, and she's like, of course, it's fine. I mean, what else was Angela going to say at that point? But
right.
Angela would have let her.
Where are you going to send her?
Right. And Angela says, mi casa e su casa, which is not Italian.
No.
So then Angela asks if she's excited about the wedding, and Anna says that she is very excited to meet her fiancé.
Right. Plot thickens.
Right. So Angela is shocked that this woman is here for an arranged marriage and that she doesn't know her fiancé. And she says, well, his family comes from my village, and my father arranged this because once we're married, Carlo, who is the man she will be marrying, will import the olive oil that her family makes, and it's going to mean a lot of money for their family.
Shady. I mean, not shady, but just like, oh, we can arrange this marriage so we can do business.
Right. But, I mean, that's kind of why marriages were arranged. Like, it was always for benefiting the family. Like, one person... There was always, like, a mutual reason, and it usually had to do with business. And the women were just kind of offered up as property. So Samantha offers to let Anna stay in her room. And she says, this will be so fun. We'll go to the mall. It'll be totally awesome. It'll be radical. It'll be gnarly.
And she's like, awesome?
Yeah. And little Anna's all confused. And she's like, okay, well, great. Will you teach me to speak teenage? So they go off and they go upstairs to let Anna get settled in. Once Anna's out of earshot, Angela tells Tony, like, this is nuts. An arranged marriage is out of the Middle Ages. It's cruel. It's barbaric. And Tony says, it's the way my parents got married. So he's like, I understand you don't do things like this in Connecticut, but in the old country, this is the way it was. So she's like, okay, I'll take a step back. I understand. And she's like, I know you're just doing this out of love for your cousin and for your uncle. And he's like, yes, I'm doing it out of love, and I'm also doing it out of fear.
Yeah.
So Tony is afraid of Uncle Aldo. Now, the next day, they're preparing for Carlo to come meet Anna for the first time. And Tony's in the kitchen getting stuff ready for lunch, and he's using a food processor. And Anna is surprised, and Angela's like, oh, it's a food processor. But I think she's actually like, it's a food processor. But Anna is most surprised to see a man working in the kitchen. She's like, this just isn't how it is where I'm from. And Angela got a little taste of that when she was at Mrs. Rosini's for Thanksgiving. Also, I love Tony's little sweater, his little shirt and tie with a sweater over it. He looks super cute.
I know. What's he dressed up for?
Carlo.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
He's their, what do you call it? Chaperone.
Chaperone. That's right.
Yes. So the doorbell rings, and Anna's all nervous because the first time she's going to meet him, she's asking
Rightfully
Angela,
so.
Yeah, asking Angela, how do I look? And whatever Angela says, I've said that like 3 times now. I keep getting the names wrong. Too close together. Yeah. Whatever Angela says, she tells her that she looks like a prize fighter instead of very pretty.
Graziano.
Yeah.
Graziaso or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Grazioso or something?
Grazioso.
Yeah, and she says prize fighter. So
this is funny.
So they go out. Angela gets to the front door first. She opens it up and she introduces herself to Carlo. And he's like, oh, are you Anna? And Tony says, no, this is Angela Bauer, my boss. This is Anna. And he pulls Anna out from the side where she's hiding behind the door. Yeah. And he says, oh, good. I know. And Angela's like, oh, thanks. Whatever. Thanks a lot. Carlo, you're not any prize yourself. Buddy.
Yeah, right.
So Tony sits them down to get acquainted. He asks about Carlo's business, and he's like, I hear you're in the import-export business. And he says yes, and he also owns an apartment building and a house with 3 bedrooms. Tony's
fancy.
like, yeah, Tony's like, well, that's great for a family. And Angela says, wait, maybe Anna doesn't want to start a family right away. And Carlo's like, why? What's wrong with her?
Right.
Yeah. And she says, nothing. I can have lots of babies. And Angela says, yeah, so can a rabbit.
Exactly.
So Angela's kind of trying to bite her tongue here, but she's not doing so well. So Angela's like, well, maybe we should just let them be alone. And they both Carlo and Anna are like, no. And Tony's like, you can't leave them alone. And she's like, why not? And he says, because they're engaged. So this is like totally out of Angela's like realm. She doesn't know what's going on here. But Tony is their chaperone. So he's supposed to be watching over them, and they're not allowed to be alone because they are engaged. So that night, Tony's out on the date with Anna and Carlo, and Samantha and Jonathan are sitting on the couch talking about marriage.
I know.
And Jonathan asks her, Sam, do you think you want to get married someday? And she says, yeah, I want a husband just like my dad.
I know. That's actually really cute, though.
It is really cute. And then she says, how about you? And he says, yeah, I want a wife just like your dad, too. That is so cute. So Tony gets home with Anna, and Tony's talking about how wonderful the date was. Carlo took them to a really fancy restaurant. Then they went out for coffee afterwards. They did a little dancing. There's a cat jumping on the back of your chair.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that was.
They did some dancing. Angela says, oh, well, did he kiss you goodnight, too? And he said, not on the first date. So then they ask Anna how the date was. And she says that he was very nice, but that she doesn't think he likes her very much. And Tony's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, he liked you a lot. I saw him lean over and whisper in your ear. And he said, if you aren't going to finish your meatballs, I will. And I love, if you look, Angela's trying hard not to laugh. So Anna's like, I just can't compete with American women, like Angela, Mona, and Sam. And she's like, I feel too plain. And Sam's like, wait a minute, you just called me a woman. And Tony's like, yeah, she's Italian. She exaggerates.
That Tony won't accept it.
No.
She's a woman. And she's also wearing her
the nightgown.
Yeah.
Nightgown's back.
Yep, it keeps coming back.
So Angela says, you're perfect just the way you are. But if you would like to be more American, it would be pretty easy. And Mona's like, oh, yeah, all you need is a charge card to Bloomingdale's and some new clothes. So Anna gets very excited about it. Tony's like, no, I don't think this is a very good idea. But all the women kind of gang up on him to get him to agree. So the next night, Carlo is coming back for another date with Anna. And Tony's like, Anna's not ready yet. Women. And Carlo's like, huh? Oh, who told you that? This guy's a sleazeball.
I know.
And Tony's like, no. I'm not talking about that. Calm down. So they sit down for some wine, and Tony tells him, like, how lucky he is. Anna's a great girl, someone you can really bring home to your mom. And Carlo agrees, and he's like, yeah, they broke the mold when they made her. And Tony's like, yeah, Anna's great. And he's like, no, Mom. So Carlo says that Anna is a great old-fashioned Italian girl. And they do a little toast to great old-fashioned Italian girls. And just then, Anna comes downstairs.
Yes, dressed like I don't know what.
It's very much like when Sandy comes out at the end of Grease.
Yeah, it's an interesting makeover.
Yes.
A little bit much.
Well, it's the 80s. I bet this looked great back then.
Yeah, I guess so.
I bet she looked like she was ready to go right on Dynasty or something.
It's too much for him, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, they made her what an American woman looked like in the 80s. Like, I bet she looked fantastic. But he wanted the Anna that was wearing, a dress up to her neck and down to her ankles. So Carlo gets very angry, and he's like, oh, Anna comes downstairs and she says, don't I look totally awesome? And so Carlo gets very upset, and he's like, if I wanted an American, I would have married Linda Evans.
I know. It's great.
So he leaves, and Angela's consoling Anna. She's like petting her head and holding her. And so Sam's like, come on, Jonathan, we should probably go upstairs.
The great thing about this scene is they cut back and it's Tony's face, and you can tell he's mad. You know what I mean? He's pretty pissed off. And so Samantha looks at him, and she immediately knows that look.
Right.
Like, to me, I caught that. She's like, we're going to be able to hear.
Right, yeah.
Like, she knows what that look is and what's about to happen.
That's
she's like,
funny,
look, Jonathan, we should go upstairs, because she knows the look. It's just funny.
Right.
I thought that was like good continuity or whatever.
Yeah, that's good. Yes.
A good observation. Ding, I need a bell.
Yeah, and so Jonathan's like, but I want to hear. And she says, don't worry, we will.
Yeah.
So as soon as they go upstairs, Tony's like, you. Mm-hmm. And he's pointing at Angela, and he's so mad. And she's like, me? And she's trying to play it off like, oh, well, Sam and Mother. And he's like, no, this was you.
Yep.
You could not wait to get your hands on her, because, he's thinking, and it's true. I mean, Angela wants this woman to have what she can have. And Angela doesn't, bow to any man or answer to anyone. And so when she sees someone like Anna, who she sees potential in, just being meek and willing to go with this person and be property, basically, she just isn't going to stand for it.
No.
But Tony told her to stay out of it, but she's told Tony to stay out of it plenty of times too, and he hasn't. So they kind of are perfect for each other. And there's a siren in the background.
I know.
Receipt. #Receipt. So he's like, you couldn't wait to get your hands on her. And now, the wedding is off. But when my uncle comes here, is he going to be mad at you? No. He's going to be mad at me. And this part is so funny because I wonder how many times they had to do this.
I don't know. But it's done so well.
And I don't know how Judith Light is not just breaking both of them. But, he's saying peeved, and he's basically spitting in her face.
I mean, you see her hair move.
I know.
It's amazing. Yeah. Like when he says,
he's so up in her rear. Every P he says is popping, and it's right in her face.
I know, you see her.
I hope he had a breath mint before.
You can also almost see her start laughing.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
I don't know how she would have.
She's trying so hard not to laugh.
Yes. So he basically says, my uncle doesn't get peeved. He explodes. He's Mount Vesuvius. Mm-hmm. This is the last days of Pompeii, and we're swimming in lava. So we're going to find out more about Uncle Aldo later on in the series. But yes, he has a reputation for not being a very nice person. So on the couch, Anna's crying. Mona's consoling her, not petting her head, but just hugging her.
I know. Everybody is consoling her.
Yeah. And Anna's saying, I'm going to go back to Italy disgraced. All the village is going to hate me. My family's going to be upset because this was a really big opportunity for them. And Angela's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gotten involved. This was none of our business, and I get it now, and I'm going to stay out. So what's our next move?
Right. How do we fix this?
Right. So now we're to the next night, and Carlo is back.
In his mustard sweater.
Yeah, what is that mustard sweater?
I don't know. I guess it's what you wore.
Yeah.
Brown tie.
So he's...
Or maybe it's like a cardigan, maybe.
Oh, yeah. It's what I like to call a manigan.
Manigan. I mean, you could pull it off if you wear it with the right thing.
Yes. You know what? It's not really the sweater. I think it's Carlo in the sweater. And I don't want to diss the actor. But I think just this character and the way they have him dressed to try to make him as sleazy as possible.
Yeah, like in the tighter clothes.
Right. So it works because Carlo really thinks a lot of himself, but I'm not so sure that he should. So he's come back. He's agreed to see Anna again, and Tony is apologizing, and he's like, Anna just did all these things because she wants to make you happy. She wants what you want. And, that's what she thought you wanted. But now that she knows that you don't, she understands. And, she wants to be the wife that you want her to be. So Carlo says he just wants a nice old-fashioned Italian woman. He says they know how to take care of a man. Mm-hmm. American women want too much. They want education. Career.
Oh my gosh.
Fulfillment.
What are all these things that American women want?
And he says they don't have time for what really matters. And Tony's like, us? And he says, yes. He's like, nah, you got it. Yeah. So Tony's starting to turn here because he had to have known Carlo was kind of a sleazeball the whole time, but now he's really seeing it. That Anna is not going to be, her happiness and her needs are never going to be in the front of his life. So he says, he's like, I want a wife like in the old country who knows her place. And Tony's like, in the kitchen? Yes. Mm-hmm. Barefoot? Yes. Pregnant? Yes.
Yes.
And Tony's like, okay, sounds good. Get up, get out. You're out of here. So now he is throwing Carlo out of the house. He says, you're not fit for anyone. You're not fit for Anna. You're not fit for anyone else. And you can forget Linda Evans.
I know. Linda. Again with the Linda Evans.
She was the lady on Dynasty, right?
Yes.
The blonde, right? Okay.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure she was the blonde.
She was the blonde, yes.
So Carlo says, well, I have a contract. And Tony says, they are made to be broken, and so is your face. So Carlo is out. So now Anna comes downstairs, and she thinks that Carlo just left because he didn't want her. But Tony's like, no, it's that he doesn't want a wife. I don't like the fact that they use the word slave here, but it's the 80s. You know better, you do better.
Right,
but
gotta let that one slide.
Yeah, that's what he says, is that's what he wanted. And his thinking is out of... And Angela says, the Middle Ages. And he's like, yes, you were right. So, and I think Angela's a little turned on here that Tony gets it. That he's like...
Yeah, figured it out.
Yeah, he's seeing things the way she saw them the whole time. But Tony says that she's right. And Anna's like, okay, well, you're right. I don't want somebody like Carlo, but...
Yeah. She said, I guess he's sort of a nerd.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. Like, she learned another teenage word.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Samantha taught her teenage.
Probably doesn't even know exactly what nerd means.
No. It's cute. And she's like, okay, well, this is all great, but what about Uncle Aldo? And Anna makes the...
Right, because earlier they made a reference to him exploding.
Yeah, well, because Tony calls him Mount Vesuvius.
Right. She's like, well, that was just funny. They made that reference again.
Right, and then she said it. It was cute. So the next day we meet Uncle Aldo. I guess he's arrived from Italy to see his daughter get married, which is now not going to happen.
I know, what a mess.
But okay, here are a couple things, too. When exactly was the wedding? Was Tony invited to the wedding?
No, I found out a couple days ago. Bene,
You would think that, Italian weddings are 7-hour affairs.
I know.
And thousands and thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. So if this wedding was all planned to the point where he is there, then a lot of money is lost here.
Yeah.
So... Uncle Aldo is there. He is very angry.
Yeah, he's not happy with the situation.
But Tony's trying to explain, Anna deserves an education, and she deserves a career, and she deserves fulfillment. And Anna's kind of sticking up for herself a bit, too, in this situation, which Aldo says, that's something that you've never done before. You've never stood up to me before. And Anna explains to Tony, because he cannot understand a word that Uncle Aldo is saying, that he's saying, I've never stood up to him before. And Tony's like, oh, he probably thinks that's all my fault. And then Aldo says something in Italian, and she says, he says it's all your fault.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. I think that was funny. Because the length of how he says it in Italian is about the length of saying it's all his fault.
Right, yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Now, this actor is named, hang on, Vito Scotti.
Oh, yeah.
And he has done so much stuff. Like, let me see in here, 231 credits on IMDb.
Wow.
But in his little bio, it said that he really felt that he had been typecast as, like, the moody Italian man. And based on a lot of the stuff that he's in, including Godfather,
yes,
it seems as though that he probably was typecast. But he had an extensive career. Like, I can't find any show where he was on extensively, but he was just on pretty much every show. Yeah. Yes, a working actor for sure. There was another thing. Oh, he was on an episode of Northern Exposure. I had to look that up. I used to love that show, too.
Oh, yeah. Probably
Mad About You. I mean, so much stuff. The Golden Girls. Tons of stuff. But he passed away in 1996. He wasn't, what is it now, 85? So he only lived another 11 years after this. Oh, and then, you know what? Carlo was so insignificant to me that I forgot about the actor. So I'm sorry. The actor is Peter Canangelo, I think. And it said he's most well known for Fight Club, but you know, he just did a lot of small parts throughout a lot of shows. Yeah, in Fight Club, he plays Lou. God, I saw Fight Club so long ago. Right. I know.
I'm trying to remember.
He's also in Jumanji, Quantum Leap. Okay, so, sorry. Back to Uncle Aldo. Now, he notices that the family is hanging out in the doorway. They're all kind of piled on top of each other, which is really cute. Jonathan's on the bottom, then Samantha, then Mona, and you can't really see Angela, but she's back there. She's probably trying to hide. So he opens the door, and they all fall out of the kitchen door. And so he says, he's pointing to them, and he says to Anna, this is what you want? And she says yes. And he's like, well, what about the business? And then Tony explains, you know, Angela here runs her own business. And he says, oh, well, if the skinny one can do it, so can you.
What does that mean?
I don't know. But yeah, so Uncle Aldo is beginning to think that maybe Anna can have more than just being property and being sent off for an arranged marriage, but she could actually run the import-export of his olive oil in America. Now, how she's going to do that so quickly if she doesn't have an education, I'm not really sure. Also, they didn't explain the fact that, you know, Angela went to years of college and then worked her way up to being the president of Wallace and McQuaid. But, you know, whatever. It's only a half an hour show. And we're going to let Anna have some...
Let her have her moment.
Have some opportunities here, yeah. So, Angela, again, says somebody is a prize fighter. Shoot. Who does she say that to? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. He says if the skinny one can do it, so can you. And then she says... whatever prize fighter is instead of thank you.
Oh, right.
And so then Aldo's making fun of her, like ringing a bell.
Right.
So in the tag, Aldo is looking around the house and he's telling Anna what a beautiful house it is. So Anna tells Angela, my father says you have a beautiful house. And Tony was like, well, you know, if we're talking about the house here, I'm going to take some of that credit. And so he explains to Uncle Aldo that he's the housekeeper. But Aldo needs Anna to explain exactly what a housekeeper is.
Right.
And once he finds out, he went from being proud of him to thinking that he's a loser. So he starts yelling at him in Italian. He's tugging on his pants. I don't really know why. Is it because he's not wearing the pants in the family. I'm not really sure exactly what the pants tugging is. But yeah, so he goes on this whole spiel, and then Tony says, he's proud of me. And that's the end of the episode. Real quick, too, I want to say that I did look up the production schedule. And so the episode that was shot before this one is actually the 24th episode that aired in the, I think it was like the third to the last episode of the season, called The Unnatural.
Oh, I see.
So Katherine Hellman is not in as much of that as she was The Graduate. So it would have made sense that she would have had more time then to prep.
Oh, there you go.
It's really interesting. I mean, and again, The Unnatural, which we're going to get to in 12 more episodes, was shot a lot outside. So it could have been because of like shooting schedules and stuff. But it is really interesting how they shot these way out of order. And I guess I didn't realize back then, like now it seems more likely that shows shoot either the entire season or a chunk of the season before they start airing. But I thought back then that they did it more like they were airing as they were still shooting. But maybe not. Okay, you can go first with the rating because I'm pretty sure I went last time.
Okay, I'm going to give this one a 6.5.
Okay.
It was funny, it had its moments, but at the same time it almost felt like another filler episode.
Yes.
I hate saying that, but
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean the filler episode's bad, but like where'd the storyline come from? You know, all of a sudden the cousin's coming from Italy. He doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't know that there's a wedding. He doesn't understand that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed kind of like, well, wait a minute. And then they just like introduced all this like heavy, crazy stuff and then wrapped it all up quickly. Why is that happening?
I don't know.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Where is it coming from?
I don't know.
Alexa, stop. Why won't it stop?
Okay, sorry. We cut. One of the 14 Alexas in the house must have heard something. Oh, did it hear me? Okay. And for some reason started playing Hello by Adele. Okay.
Ridiculous.
So I agree with you, and I actually gave this a 6. I feel like we're on this pattern where I go just like a half below you.
Yeah, maybe.
And I agree. It kind of felt like filler. They introduced Anna. It seems as though Anna's staying in the United States. We will never see Anna again. So,
oh, is that right?
No, I don't think so. So yeah, but I did, the arranged marriage storyline is whatever. But I did like Angela in this episode a lot. And so that was some funny stuff. The scene with her and Tony and him being mad at her is fantastic. But yeah, overall, it was just kind of
it had its moments for sure.
Yeah, had its moments, but So yeah, a 6.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you?
I chose Angela as the boss. And the reason is because even though Tony kicks Carlo out at the end, I feel like he wouldn't have done that if Angela hadn't planted it in his head. He probably would have still just gone along with it because he needed to for family, but I think that her influence made him go the extra step of actually kicking Carlo out and taking the brunt of Uncle Aldo.
And I agree 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it's exactly what I thought,
Nice.
that Angela was the boss. She was right straight out of the gate. I mean, she knew that this was wrong, and even though Tony agreed to arrange this whole thing, not knowing what he arranged, he didn't immediately take the lead and, realize it was wrong. I think he was just trying to go with the flow and, please Uncle Aldo. Is that his name? Aldo. And
please everyone. That's
right.
Tony.
Please everyone. Please everyone. That's Tony. And Angela's like, hold on, wait a minute. No, that's not what we're doing because this is wrong.
Right.
So, yes, Angela's the boss.
All right. Well, you can reach us at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram or Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter, or the Who's the Boss podcast page on Facebook, or anchor.fm/WTB podcast, and there you can leave us a voice message.
Yeah, leave us a voice message.
Yeah, leave us a hey, oh, hey, oh, hey.
Or sing the
Or
theme
please
song.
sing the theme song.
Or whatever.
Yes, we no longer have a song for the end, so we're just going to say goodbye. Thank you.
All right.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and tell all your friends and give you a big pat on the back. Bye. I added some extra.